It all starts in these wide open fields of grain. People plant the wheat, grow it, harvest it, and then bear its fruit. These tiny little grains have been with us for thousands of years. And today, we're going to make it into some tasty bread. Bread is taken for granted. We always assume it's just going to be there. But in the past, people used to make their own bread. They didn't buy it. And today, with these simple ingredients, we're going to show you how to make it yourself. Please look in the description for the ingredient listing. Now, as I'm preparing this, I want to tell you it's about more than just making the bread. It's about a sense of independence. This simple item can be made into so many things to provide for your family. From French toast in the morning, to sandwiches at lunch, to meal bread in the afternoon. Bread is a staple that, honestly, we can't live without. After you've laid out all your ingredients, first thing you want to get started on is the yeast mixture. So that's what I'm doing here, pouring milk into these glasses at a certain ratio. And then this milk will have a little bit of added sugar to it, real sugar, cane sugar. Oh, and before I forget, if you don't have enough milk for some reason, you can top it off with a little bit of water. This will actually help to not waste any milk if you're using packaged milk like me, and ensure you still get the moisture content you need. This is one of the only times I'll use a microwave for cooking. Don't really use it for much else than heating up ingredients when necessary. So as that's heating up, you need to grab your spoons, your measuring spoons, have those handy. You'll need to measure the ingredients just right. And so I'm adding the real cane sugar to the milk, because yeast knows the difference. You cannot trick yeast into thinking coconut sugar is the food that it prefers. So we add real sugar just in this step. Stir it in really nice. Make sure all the little grains are absorbed up in the milk before adding your yeast. Give it a good stir. Make sure it's very thoroughly mixed. And do the same with your other cup if you're making a double portion like I am here. Okay, so we put the yeast on top. I've attempted to do sourdough before, which it has actually been really successful. But for this recipe, it's much faster and easier to just use the prepared yeast. Although fermented bread, like sourdough, is much healthier for your gut health, this one will do just fine for our purposes. So pour in the yeast as required and give it a nice stir. You want it to really blend in with all those sugars so it can heat it up and start getting that rising process going. Then I'm going to grab some flour. The quality of your flour is essential. A lot of people have allergies to flour, whether it's gluten intolerance or just simply can't manage it to digest it well. Some people just gain a lot of weight when eating it, but the truth is, the quality matters, and here we're using organic flour. Organic flour differs much from the regular white flour that you get from the store. Less processing, less chemicals, a little bit more fiber and protein actually. If you check the labels, you'd be surprised. So I'll blend it in here with the coconut sugar. Coconut sugar is a very low glycemic index, which honestly just feels better when you eat it, to put it simply. And it also gives it a natural sweet. So blend it thoroughly like this. Make sure it's really in there. Then we'll add a little bit of salt in. Salt gives it a little bit of a preservative, but more so it's for the flavor. You'll only be adding a little bit to this recipe. Make sure to stir that in as well, so it gets evenly blended. As you can see, the yeast has been feasting on our sugar inside these cups and has been rising. So you'll want to wait until you see a lot of bubbles going. Not too much, but just enough. And go ahead and make some room for it to be poured in so it doesn't splash up. And try to stir as you pour. Get it nice and even. This will start to clump up a little bit, as you'll see, but I'm starting with this fine whisk just to get it really in there. I'll switch over to my hands in a moment. which will actually get the more firm pieces of dough to blend together. But this will do its job at the start. Try to get it all from the sides, as much as you can until it's too thick. There it is, too thick. Now, I'll switch over to the hands. Put on a plastic glove. Ideally, I'd use my bare hands, but for the sake of time, put on a plastic glove and start blending away. You'll see the dough right there. And then we add a little bit of butter. This enriches the flavor. It also helps it have better nutrition and reduces your need to add butter later when you actually eat the bread. So I'm cutting off here approximately 4 tablespoons each, one for this bread, one for that bread, and get to working it in again. When you blend it well, it'll have a nice shine to it. Your dough should more or less look something like this by the time it's all blended together. And then we need to cover it up. You want to cover it for at least 30 to 45 minutes, depending on your atmosphere and moisture content. Or just let it rest. And now it's ready to be kneaded again. So we uncover it. It's looking great. You'll take your hand, pull from the side, or from the edge I should say, and move it to the center like such. Be careful not to rip it, but get the folds going like this repeatedly, over and over. And you'll see those lines, those dark lines of kneading it will start to blend together. There we go. Getting everything smoothed out, and this builds up your gluten, builds up that stringy texture, the good stringy texture in the bread that you love. You'll want to do this as long as you need to in order to get it just right, but also don't overwork it. It'll start ripping away from itself. So as soon as you've reached a certain amount of kneading it together where it looks like this, go ahead and peel it from the bottom, flip it over, and then work those sides back down nice and smooth. And here's the second bowl with our second set of bread. But you'll see here, the dough content is much higher in moisture, but that's okay. Do not hesitate to just continue. Do not give up. That's one thing that really kills people's creativity, kills people's motivation, is seeing something that they don't expect. Work with it. You can add flour throughout the recipe to fix it. That's fine. But knead it just as you would with the lower moisture content dough. Now I'll speed things up here. Get it going. Knead, flip, tuck. Done. And now we're going to cover it up again. And now a third time. You'll knead this 3 times initially before getting it into its pan where it's going to rise again. You'll see this is the one that was more like pancake batter. It's gotten a little bit thicker, a little bit more bouncy, but still workable. Do not give up on your bread. Keep working it. At first, making bread was incredibly intimidating for me. I was afraid of making rock-hard biscuits or just having dough that was useless, but over time and a little bit of practice, you get the hang of it, and it becomes second nature. You begin to feel the dough out and know, okay, this one will work, this one won't, and how to adjust it. But you need to be encouraged to just start. Just starting things and learning them is the best way to improve, the best way to achieve the goal that you want. With something as simple as bread, we could all learn that. And so these are being nicely tucked and set. And then what's coming up next is we're introducing our stainless steel friends, the baking pans. Quality matters. It's initially very expensive to buy something like this, but it's totally worth it. You won't be eating a bunch of microplastics or Teflon coatings in your food. Instead, you'll have hearty bread, worry-free. And as far as the non-stick nature of these pans, they are actually very non-stick. I've baked with these tens of times before you've seen them in this video. Just make sure to butter them up. They'll be fine, even at high degrees in the oven. Try not to use cooking spray or vegetable oils. You want to match the flavor of the bread and also The natural grease from the butter is much better for your health. So go ahead and use butter, unsalted of course, and put it all over the sides of the pan. You'll want to do this for every pan, all the way up, because as it heats up, it'll melt anyway. But it'll provide that protective layer to keep your bread from sticking, and also add a very rich flavor. Now once these pans are all greased up with this butter, we're going to start rolling our dough. Rolling out your dough can be a little tedious, but we're going to make it fun here. So finally uncover your dough, and let's get started. And now the dough will rest again, this time for a whole hour and a half. So find something to do that's fun for you. But as you wait, anticipate. Because, as you'll see, when we uncover what we've done, wow, the bread is formed into its final shape. Look at those. And let's take a look at the other one. Golden, shiny, ready to be brushed up, prepared for the oven. And for that, we'll be using 1 egg and a little bit of milk. Go ahead and blend that very thoroughly. Grab your brush and start wiping it over. You want to be really thorough with this. Get all the edges. Don't skip anything. The spots will be obvious when you take it out of the oven. Gently brush your bread, being careful not to push too hard and deflate the dough. Nice and even, and it's okay if you overdo a little bit, but don't underdo it. Speed things up here for you. Get all of our bread ready to go in. It actually makes a very big difference. Your bread will crack without this actually being coated on top. Coat it evenly, coat it well. Last bread here. Final touches. And then it's time to put these in the oven. Make sure your oven is preheated while you're doing this. 350 degrees Fahrenheit. You want to put your pans in at the same time, so make sure you gather them up first on the stovetop, and then after they're all ready to go, open up your oven and slide them in. Whatever you do, do not put your bread on the top rack though. Let's make that rack right in the middle of the oven, or even lower. Make sure we don't burn the tops of the bread, which are exposed. So slide them in. Make sure they're all evenly spaced, and time your bread out. 25 minutes, perfect. All done. Make sure to leave your bread out for a little bit, just to air it out. You don't want excess of moisture wherever you're storing this, whether that's on the counter, in the freezer, in a bread box. But congratulations, you've done it. You've made your first bread. And an optional addition to this, you can go ahead, grab some more butter, and wipe it over the tops. Gives it a lovely buttery flavor. It's okay if your bread didn't come out like this the first time. It took me many tries, but keep trying. A little bit of independence can go a long way. Don't be reliant on somebody else for what you yourself can make, what you yourself can do. Not only is it a good goal to have, but it's also a sense of responsibility, a sense of achievement, something that you can do if you put your efforts into it. So thank you for joining us today, and I hope when you make your bread, post a comment, tell me how it came out, and we'll see you next time.